Certain hand changes can appear days before a stroke or heart attack. Most seniors miss them because they feel small, mild or temporary, but the hands react fast when blood flow to the brain or heart becomes unstable, which makes them the earliest place to spot danger. So here's the first and most common warning sign to look for. Warning sign 1. Sudden tingling or numbness in one hand. This is one of the clearest early red flags. Not the kind you get from sleeping on your arm. Not the kind that fades when you shake your hand out. This is tingling or numbness that appears suddenly for no reason and often affects one hand more than the other. Why this matters? When blood flow drops, the nerves in the hand lose oxygen fast. That creates buzzing, pins and needles, or electric sensations. One-sided numbness is especially concerning because it signals uneven circulation, a common pattern before a stroke. A quick test: lightly tap your fingertips with your other hand. If the sensation feels weaker, slower, or duller on one side, that's a sign the nerves are not getting enough blood. This type of numbness is not just age, it's a circulation warning that often shows up hours or days before a major event. Warning sign number 2, one hand. Becoming suddenly cold. Cold hands happen to everyone, but only one hand turning cold suddenly and for no clear reason is a genuine red flag. Here's why this happens. When the heart or arteries struggle to pump properly, the body protects the core by pulling warm, oxygen-rich blood away from the extremities. It doesn't pull evenly. One side often loses blood flow faster. That's why you might notice one cold hand while the other feels normal. This is especially important when the cold hand feels colder within minutes. It stays cold longer than usual. Rubbing or moving, it doesn't warm it up. It happens repeatedly throughout the day. This pattern is linked to vascular instability, meaning the arteries are tightening, narrowing, or reacting to a drop in cardiac output. That instability often shows up shortly before a cardiovascular event. A simple check: touch both hands against your neck or cheek. If the temperature difference is noticeable, especially if it appears more than once, it's a real circulation warning. Warning sign number 3, sudden color. Changes in the fingers. Your fingers shouldn't change color quickly. But in the days before a stroke or heart attack, the blood vessels in the hands can behave unpredictably. There are 3 major color changes to watch for. 1. Pale or grayish fingers. Blood flow has dropped sharply. 2. Blue or purple fingertips. Oxygen isn't reaching the tissues. 3. Red blotches or sudden redness. Vessels opening and closing erratically. These changes can appear for a few minutes, then fade, then return. Seniors often ignore this because it seems minor or temporary. But temporary color shifts are one of the strongest indicators of unstable blood flow, and unstable blood flow is a key predictor of both stroke and heart complications. A quick at-home check. Press the tip of your finger until it turns white. Release. The color should return within 2 seconds. If it takes longer, especially longer on one hand, blood is moving too slowly through the capillaries. Slow refill, checked circulation strain. Warning sign number 4. Weak grip, strength or sudden loss of control. Grip strength doesn't weaken overnight without a reason. If you suddenly drop objects, struggle to twist a bottle cap, have trouble holding a utensil, notice one hand feels weaker than the other, feel like your hand hesitates when gripping. This is a major sign the nerves controlling your hand are not getting consistent oxygen. This weakness can last seconds, minutes, or hours. And the more sudden the weakness, the more serious the warning. Here's why it matters. The brain controls grip strength. When blood flow to the brain is disrupted, even slightly, the signals sent to your hand become weaker. This is why sudden hand weakness is considered one of the clearest early warnings for a developing stroke, especially when paired with tingling, numbness, or color changes. One-sided grip weakness is the biggest red flag. A simple test. Squeeze your thumb and index finger together, then compare both sides. If one side feels noticeably weaker, do not ignore it. These hand warnings don't happen randomly. They aren't old age, they aren't normal arthritis or poor circulation from weather. They appear because the heart and brain rely on steady, high-quality blood flow, and when that flow becomes unstable, the hands show it first. Your hands contain some of the smallest arteries, the highest density of nerve endings, and extremely sensitive capillaries. When the cardiovascular system is under strain, the hands reveal the problem faster than your chest, head, or legs. We're not done. There are more warning signs that become even clearer as circulation and nerve activity become unstable. These are signs most seniors overlook, but they're among the most important to catch early. When the hands begin losing steady blood flow, one of the earliest physical shifts you'll notice isn't pain or tingling at all. It's the speed of blood returning to the fingertips. Most seniors never check this, but it's one of the clearest circulation warnings the body gives before something serious happens. Here's how it looks in real life. You press your fingertip against a table, or you pinch it lightly with your other hand, and the skin goes pale. That part is normal. What isn't normal is when the color takes too long to come back. Healthy circulation brings the pink tone back instantly. But when the arteries are struggling, or when the heart isn't keeping up, the refill slows down. And in the days leading up to a stroke or heart attack, that delay becomes even more obvious. Some people describe it as their fingertips looking drained or staying white longer than usual. Others say it feels like their fingers are colder or stiffer after pressing on them. None of these changes are random. Slow color return is a sign that blood is not moving smoothly through the tiny capillaries. And those capillaries react extremely fast when pressure, blood thickness, or oxygen levels become unstable. This shift can happen quietly. You might be sitting, reading, or holding your phone and notice your fingers don't warm up the way they normally do. Or you press on the fingertip and it stays pale for a moment longer. It's subtle. But subtle is exactly how the body warns you before something far more serious hits. There's another hand change that often appears around the same time, and this one is harder to ignore. Swelling that shows up without any injury or overuse. Not arthritis swelling, not joint stiffness. This is softer swelling, the kind that makes your rings suddenly feel tight or makes your fingers look puffier than they did the day before. And what makes this so important is that it can appear on only one hand, making it even easier to overlook. This type of swelling is caused by fluid leaking out of the blood vessels when the heart isn't circulating blood efficiently. If the pump is struggling, fluid doesn't move through the body the way it should. Instead, it pools in places where the vessels are most sensitive, and the hands are one of the first spots to show it. You might press gently on the swollen area and notice it leaves a brief indentation, or you wake up and find the fingers look fuller than normal. If this happens suddenly, especially if it's paired with coldness, tingling, or fatigue in the arm, it's a sign the cardiovascular system is under strain. These two warnings, slow blood return and unexplained hand swelling, show up together more often than most people realize. They're both reactions to the same underlying problem, unstable circulation. And unstable circulation is exactly what appears in the days leading up to a heart attack or stroke. Most seniors brush these changes off as tired hands, aging skin, or water retention, but the body doesn't make these shifts for no reason. When circulation becomes unreliable, the first signals appear in the hands long before chest pain, dizziness, or severe symptoms ever begin. That's why recognizing the difference between normal aging and circulation warning can make all the difference. If these changes appear repeatedly or only on one side, it's one of the clearest signs that the heart or brain isn't getting the blood flow it needs. The hands aren't just reacting randomly, they're reacting early. One of the strongest hand warnings before a stroke or heart attack is a sudden interruption in hand precision. This shows up immediately, no slow decline, no gradual change. One moment the hand works normally, the next it loses accuracy. The problem is simple. The brain temporarily stops delivering consistent signals to the hand. When blood flow drops, the areas responsible for fine movement weaken within seconds. The hand doesn't lose strength, it loses control. That loss of control is often the first sign of a developing neurological or cardiovascular issue. The change is obvious when it happens. A shirt button slips out of your fingers. A key doesn't line up with the lock. A small object takes more effort to pick up. Writing becomes uneven. The fingertips miss their target by a small margin. This isn't clumsiness, and it isn't arthritis. Arthritis limits motion. This limits precision. Those are two completely different problems. The underlying process is straightforward. Fine motor function depends on steady oxygen delivery. When a stroke is forming or when the heart is under strain, oxygen levels fluctuate. The brain responds by redirecting blood toward the core. When that redirection happens, the first system affected is the one controlling detailed hand movement. The drop in control is not random. It's a reaction to unstable blood flow. The nerves in the hand react instantly to oxygen loss. That is why this warning sign often appears before chest pain, headache, or speech difficulty. The hand becomes the first visible indicator that the brain is not receiving stable circulation. The loss of precision is the earliest effect of that change. This sign is most concerning when it affects only one hand. One-sided control loss indicates uneven circulation or a developing blockage on a specific side of the brain. A difference between hands is the clearest indicator that the cause is vascular, not mechanical. The problem doesn't need to last long to matter. A 10-second lapse in control is enough to qualify as a warning. If it appears more than once in a short time, the risk increases. Even if the hand returns to normal afterward, the event still requires attention because temporary control loss means temporary oxygen loss, and temporary oxygen loss means instability in circulation. Another key point, this warning sign often appears without pain. Seniors expect serious problems to hurt, but vascular and neurological changes are usually painless in the beginning. A painless but sudden loss of fine control is more dangerous than discomfort, because pain at least demands attention. This change does not, it appears quietly, which is why so many people ignore it until it repeats. The simplest way to detect this warning is to test controlled movement. Touch the tip of your thumb to each fingertip in sequence. A healthy hand performs this smoothly and consistently. A hand affected by poor blood flow shows delay, uneven contact, or hesitation. Compare both hands. The difference will be clear if circulation is unstable. Another quick test is to pick up a small object, like a coin or a paperclip. The hand should lift it cleanly. If the finger pads fail to coordinate or the grip closes at the wrong angle, the neural signal is weak. These tests reveal problems immediately and require no equipment. This warning sign is not caused by fatigue, age, or weather. Those cause predictable and gradual changes. A stroke or heart-related warning creates sudden disruption. You go from normal precision to reduced precision without a clear trigger. That speed is the key distinction. When this hand change appears, the cardiovascular and neurological systems are already under measurable stress. Blood flow is unstable, oxygen delivery is unreliable, and the brain is compensating. The hand exposes that instability faster than any other area of the body. When the hands begin showing these changes, the most important step is recognizing that they're not isolated problems. They're signals coming from the cardiovascular and neurological systems, and they appear because the hands react faster than the rest of the body when blood flow becomes unstable. The final warning pattern to understand is what happens when these hand changes repeat, shift sides, or appear in short episodes throughout the day. These repeating shifts are often the last set of early clues before more serious symptoms begin elsewhere. Repetition is the key. A single event can come from pressure, posture, or temporary irritation. But when the same hand issue returns without a clear trigger, especially at different times of day, it points to circulating blood that isn't moving smoothly. The arteries tighten, relax, tighten again. Blood pressure rises, drops, then rises again. Oxygen delivery follows the same pattern. The hands detect every one of those shifts in real time. Sudden coldness at noon, brief numbness in the evening, delayed color return the next morning. This kind of instability is a recognizable pre-event pattern. Another critical detail is timing. When the cardiovascular system is under strain, hand warnings often appear during routine activities. Standing up, walking from one room to another, reaching overhead, or transitioning from hot to cool environments. These activities increase the demand for stable blood flow. If the system can't adjust quickly, the hands expose it. A brief change in sensation or control during these moments reveals how close the system is to its limit. The most dangerous pattern is when a hand warning appears on one side, resolves, and returns stronger. Later, one-sided changes almost always indicate uneven circulation or a developing blockage. This is especially true when paired with stiffness in the jaw, unexplained fatigue, or a brief wave of lightheadedness. The combination means the hand signal is not just a local issue. It's a downstream effect of compromised blood flow upstream. The body gives these early warnings because it's trying to maintain stability. Before a stroke, the brain shifts blood toward critical areas. Before a heart attack, the heart limits flow to non-essential regions. The hands lose priority first. When the hands show repeated signs of low priority, it means the shift is no longer occasional. It's becoming continuous. At this stage, seniors often make the mistake of waiting for pain. They expect a stroke to start with a severe headache or a heart attack to begin with crushing chest pressure. But most early cardiovascular and neurological problems start silently. They begin with reduced circulation, unstable nerve signals, and inconsistent oxygen delivery. The hands detect these changes immediately because the distance from the heart and the density of nerve endings make them the most sensitive early alarm system in the body. Ignoring these signals allows the underlying issue to progress unchecked. Acting on them early gives the best chance of identifying a problem while it's still reversible. That action can be as simple as noting the changes, comparing sides, and monitoring when the symptoms appear. If the hand changes are sudden, one-sided, or repeating, medical attention is needed. These patterns are measurable, visible, and meaningful. The hands are not failing on their own. They are responding to a system that's under pressure. Recognizing the patterns, sudden loss of control, unusual coldness, delayed color return, or repeating episodes gives seniors a critical advantage. These signs appear early, clearly, and long before more severe symptoms develop. Identifying them is one of the simplest ways to stay ahead of both stroke and heart attack risk. If you know someone over 50 who needs to see this, send it to them. And if you want more science-backed ways to stay strong and independent as you age, hit that red subscribe so you don't miss the next one.